remember, we're all on the same ground this morning. I may be standing on this thing, platform. I'm 5'2". I'm standing on this platform. I'm still probably not as tall as a lot of you in here. But this morning, the problem is we don't believe that we're loved by God. And when we start to believe that, then and only then can we love one another. Because our ministry, our service, comes from the love of God. The ministry, the service, will never come from our love. Our love is falls so short of God's love. We love according to people. We discern with natural thought. We walk in natural judgment. You know, I crack up at Christians all the time. You know, I have a discerning spirit. And I just believe that so-and-so is going through such and such. I personally hate that stuff. So when somebody says something to me like that, a flag immediately goes up in my mind. Because I'm not around you discerning you. I'm around you loving you. Because of the love I'm supposed to be. I'm natural, I'm human, just like everybody else in this room. But we love out of the fact that we are loved. And once we start loving like that, oh man, it changes the whole picture. Higher view. Higher view. I don't see anymore. I'm not discerning whether I like you or not anymore. My discernment now is discerning whether you are of God. And I know you're of God by the way that you love. God is love. That's what it says there. Love, in the natural sense, is not God. So we want to turn our love into what we want to define God from the love that we know or that's familiar to us. You know, I love you because I feel like I can. You're kind of approachable. You're charismatic. You say a few jokes. You make me comfortable. And I love it. You must be of God. And we know we can meet all kinds of people that are all those things, and they have nothing to do with God. But Christians want to naturally discern that with, I know that person's of God. There's ways we can tell. We love because we're loved. Beloved, dearly loved, much loved, adored, favored. Loved by God. Once we get that right, once we really, really believe that, then we start to love differently. And it's from a higher view. Is that all right with everyone this morning?
Amen.
Because we can't figure it out without God. God is love. Love is not God. So we have to stop defining love as God. Because it's not. There's stuff that can be happening that sort of looks like love, and it is a natural love, but it's not God. God is love. We have to learn what love is through God. So verse 7, that's verse 7. Affiliation with God is the same as affiliation with love. So those related to God, they practice it. There's a spiritual practice. We hear somewhat about love as a practice, but that is a practice. When we get up in the morning, we need to remember that this is something we practice. We practice this like you practice medicine. We practice loving from the love that God has. It's risky. Because we want to love the way we're familiar loving. According to judgment, according to how we feel, how we like, how we see. And when we get up in the morning, we start to practice this love. It's new, it's inviting, it's refreshing, and we start to do it, and what happens? We start to see God. That's what that verse says. It starts to be revealed in this practice. We don't practice it and say, okay, now we practiced it well, we figured it out, now we're the best Christian. Yay, yay! We beat you! No. We practice it and we find out that the unlovable are loved. We find it out by practice. We find out that they're worth it when we think that they're not. We start to see them through the eyes of Jesus because of practice. Our practice leads us to a revealing of God. That's spiritual practice. So when you get up in the morning and you don't feel like loving someone, practice. And you'll run into God. And the only way you're going to be, or I'm going to be able to do that, is to take a hold of God. I can't love without God because God loves me. If I believe that, I'll love others.
Amen.
If I don't believe that, I'll start projecting who I am onto others instead of receiving who God is. I'll start judging because I'm projecting the judgment that's in my heart. I'll project the hatred I have, the prejudice, the bias, the disgusting spirit that wants to flatten you. That's what I'll project. I'll start to hate. And I'll start to be frustrated and stressed out. Because I have to love you. Shucks. But practice makes perfect. So God says, affiliation with God. How do we know? We're going to learn how we know we're affiliated with God. Oh, because we think we are? We think a lot of things that are not true right in the church. But God, affiliation with God is the same as affiliation with love. So those related to God, they practice. They're not doing it right all the time. They're practicing, but they're learning how to draw from the inner love that was bestowed upon them by something they didn't earn and could not produce. I love it because it's all about God. And then verse 8 says, somebody read that from New American Standard.
The one who does not love does not know God, for God is love.
Okay. Let's read a definition of love from the Vines. That might be helpful. Love is to express the essential nature of God in this particular verse, 1 John 4:8. Love means different things in different places. And sometimes love is a verb, sometimes it's a noun, sometimes it's an adjective. Here it is a verb. Here it is a noun, a feminine noun. To express the essential nature of God. It's talking about just telling you about something.